It's good, y'all. Welcome back to Niner Wire. I'm your host, Sam, and today we're going to be going through some of the 49ers draft needs. And I have two special guests for this. The first one is A-Palms right here. And the next one is Rohith Kannan right
Hi,
there.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing today?
Doing all right.
Pretty good. I'm excited to talk about this. We're just going to be basically going through the Niners draft needs, talking about what we need, who players we should look at. So, yeah, it should be a fun time. Before I get into it, make sure to follow me on Twitter at StoneColdKittle. And these guys also have Twitter accounts, so make sure to follow them there. You guys want to share that real quick?
Yeah. Mine's just my name if you can see it on the screen, and then just at the number 71 at the end, and that's mine.
All right, perfect.
Mine's A-Palms and then 3 underscores. I've gotten banned a couple times.
That's nice. I have them. I have I'll put their Twitter in the chat real quick. It's also in the title of the video, but I'll just put it in the chat real quick so you guys can see. And that's in the private chat. Never mind. Fun. All right. Anyways, also, if you have any questions or comments or anything you want to talk about, make sure to leave them in the chat that I just put that in. And yeah, so let's get right into it. So how we're going to do this is I think we're all just going to go through our top 7 needs for the draft. They don't really have to be in order, in my opinion, but we can just share them out. I think we're definitely going to have some similarities, maybe a few differences. But let's start with A-Palms. What you got for our top 7 needs for positions?
So definitely a wide receiver. I'd like to see definitely a cornerback and a safety. Maybe a tight end, get a backup tight end, and definitely a couple defensive linemen would be nice.
Mm-hmm. Defensive end, defensive tackle, basically.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. What about you, Rohith?
Yeah, basically the same thing. I think we should really look at wide receivers, defensive backs, defensive linemen. But I also think we also need to start looking at the O-line, especially center, in case Richburg goes down. Yes, Ben Garland stepped in and did well, but it never hurts to have more capable people, especially on that interior, because that quarterback center exchange. I mean, if you remember, I think what was it? I think it was the New Orleans game where Richburg went down.
Richburg went down, and Garland was horrible for the rest of the game. I remember.
Yeah,
that. At least he picked it back up, though. But
yeah, I mean, he picked it back up. But that quarterback, that center exchange is essential.
Yeah, definitely.
And I also think we also need to look at some tackles because
Staley's getting old. Yeah.
As much as we like to think Staley's immortal, but we have to start looking.
I mean, from what I've heard, he might retire like before the season even starts. So
yeah,
hopefully that doesn't happen first of all. But if it does happen, we definitely need to look at someone because I'm not sure if we can really trust School and Brunskill to play those two positions since we might need, especially Brunskill, we might need him to play guard. So.
Yeah,
but yeah,
we need like a nice, like blue chip, like genuine tackle, not some tackle guard hybrid. Someone who can just play tackle.
Yeah, definitely. So, someone who can definitely play tackle. If they can play hybrid, I think that's okay in my opinion. Considering that we have some needs to fill on the entire line, like maybe a center, maybe a better guard, but yeah, all right. My top 7 needs, and we'll get back. Let's just get back to the O-line in a sec after I just share my needs real quick. So wide receiver, cornerback, defensive tackle, tight end, safety, and I think we also might want to add a linebacker because our run defense was not that good last year. So maybe a linebacker who's really good at run D. And then
also might also be like a symptom of the wide 9 because the wide 9 is really just about spreading out that O-line, which in a way helps offensive coordinators scheme holes for people to run through. So
definitely.
So
and then
we don't know how much weight we can put on linebackers being like ineffective in the run versus a wide 9 being inherently weak against the run. I think that's also something
definitely.
we might want to keep in mind.
Yeah, I also might just want to get some depth because Alshire is not the best linebacker in my opinion. Nazacha is mainly for special teams, so it might be good to get some more depth. Especially if someone like Quan goes down again, that would not be good because. But
Aziz Al-Shire tried to step in, but it wasn't as well as we wanted. Our defense went down a lot.
Yeah, I mean he's no Quan Alexander or Fred Warner, so it might, or even Dre Greenlaw. So like, I think there's definitely a gap. I think we need to fill that gap a bit more. As much as I like Alshire stepping in and everything, I think we just need to fill that gap a bit more with linebacker. the last position I had, I think let's just get back to O-line. I said guard. So we've gone through really all the O-line positions a little bit. So I feel like someone who is versatile is someone I think we should add. Someone who I think, in my opinion, mainly primarily plays guard because that right guard's position is open. But I want to hear what you guys think about what we should do with O-line in the draft.
I mean, assuming we stay put at 13, we should not even look offensive line at pick 13.
We should go wide receiver at 13, in my opinion. We'll talk about that a bit later. Continue
Yeah,
on.
but if it's 31 or later in the draft, I think interior offensive line and maybe tackle should probably be at the forefront of the minds
definitely.
of Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, mostly because we've had a row of injuries across that offensive line. We've had multiple players miss games here and there.
Mhm.
And again, with the whole Staley situation, as much as we want him to stay, if he does retire, we need someone to step in efficiently.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think every one of our starting linemen got hurt last year, besides Tomlinson, I believe. And I mean, Staley's coming off. He had a broken leg, torn patellar injury. That's something that's really hard to come back off of. So that's a huge concern for center. But before I say what I have to say, I want to hear what APOMS has to say.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Rohith. Just like getting a guard, just because I mean, there's so many injuries. Like, I mean, every team has injury problems with guard. Like, that's such a injury-heavy position. So it's just you can never go wrong with getting another guard or tackle in the draft.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think one guy, if we're talking about like a versatile player who can play mainly on the, I'm thinking like interior line because I think that's more of a bigger need for us. Let's say that Staley doesn't retire, it's definitely going to be a bit more of a need for a guy that I'm looking at is Cesar Ruiz, in my opinion, the best interior lineman in the draft. It might be hard to logistically get him because we probably wouldn't be able to trade back 31 if we wanted him, which is I think we should definitely trade back 31. But that's one guy to look at. Another guy, Robert Hunt out of Louisiana. This would probably be a 5th-round pick. He had some injuries in college, but and that's why his draft stock's really fallen. But other than that, he can play guard. He's listed as a tackle on some boards. So I really like him overall. I want to hear if you guys have anyone else that you want to share about that you think we might want to take.
I like Jonah Jackson out of Ohio State.
Oh,
but
love
I
that
don't think
kid.
he's going to be a 5th rounder, but if we do trade back from 31, if we can get a mid-3rd rounder, I think he'd be a good person to look at.
Yeah, I think mid-3rd rounder, 4th rounder, I think we'll probably be able to get in there. I think some site, it might have been PFF, ranked him as the best blocking guard in this entire draft. So
did they specify run blocking or pass blocking?
I think pass blocking, I wasn't 100% sure. I didn't read the article. I just heard it on some other stream. So, but yeah, APOMS, you got anyone else?
No, not really. That's really the only guy I've ever heard of.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you right now, the interior line depth is really weak in this class. I think Cesar Ruiz is the best one, and then there's a bit of a drop right there. But other than that, I think obviously the tackle depth's a bit more heavy. So if we want to draft a tackle, maybe convert someone to guard like we did with Brunskill, I think that's another option. There's no one I can really think of because when I'm been thinking of interior lineman, I'm trying to draft an interior lineman, not tackle who we have to convert and maybe work on a bit for that. So you guys have anything else to say about interior linemen or linemen in general?
Honestly, no.
All right, perfect. Let's move on to one glaring need that we all said, and that's wide receivers. So personally, I think this should be our 13th pick, and I think a lot of people will agree with me. You guys agree with me on that? Or
yeah.
You guys agree? All right, perfect. So Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, who do you guys got? Rank them in.
I personally would want Lamb out of the 3.
Lamb, all right. Yeah, I think he's definitely, in my opinion, Lamb and Ruggs, in my opinion, are the best fits, but Judy's the overall best player.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard, interesting to see what Shanahan does. But I feel like this is going to be a Shanahan pick. First of all, I don't think Lynch is going to have much of a say in this. But I feel like when you're a team in a win now mode, you're kind of going to want to fill the fit holes. So that's why I feel like we're not as likely to take Jeudy. Plus, I think the Raiders are really high up on Jeudy, so I think he'll be gone before 13. But Rohith, what do you got for that position?
Well, I'm an Alabama student, so I'm going to be a bit biased. But Like you said, I think Judy is the best wide receiver out of the three, and I do think Ruggs and Lamb would be the best fits.
Mhm.
But just a couple of hours ago, I saw a couple of headlines on Twitter that said the Jets are really high on Henry Ruggs.
Ooh,
So
so that would mean Lamb probably falls to us if the
yes,
Raiders are high on. That would be good for us. I mean,
that would be good because we've been looking for a big bodied wide receiver who we can throw jump balls very effectively to. I
Mhm.
mean that's what we tried to do with Jalen Hurd last year before he got injured.
Yeah, definitely. I think
So-
him. Yeah, I think the other thing about Lamb, he's really probably the best yards after catch guy in that class. When you talk about yards after catch, one player that comes to mind, George Kittle. So those are two players that can definitely light up our offense, I think.
so
I've
I mean,
also go ahead. What?
that just helps with short yardage situations if you want to just turn
Oh,
that into a
absolutely.
play.
Yeah, definitely. I think like him and Debo, I think that's definitely going to work out really well. But I also want to ask, do you guys think that Debo could be our number one receiver potentially? If
I think
Yes,
so.
absolutely. I mean,
maybe. All right.
like he's built and plays like how Anquan Bolden did for us in 2013 through 20. I want to say 15.
I think it was like 2015, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
'cause-
he can fill a similar role. Just that the guy who has safe hands, and they can just get him the ball, and you know he's gonna go up in there and get it.
yeah, definitely. I feel like I feel like a lot of people are saying like he is already the number one receiver. I think he needs to develop a bit more, and maybe I think I like the role that he played last year as a number two receiver. I think he really excelled at that behind Sanders. So that's why I feel like we might want to get a better receiver, some guy who can be a potential number one. But I also want to ask if we take I hear we're really hype on Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle out of South Carolina. So if that happens at 13, are there any other guys that you think we might want to take?
At 31 or at 13?
At 31, or if we trade back, or maybe even later. I don't know.
Honestly, in the 5th round, I have a good feeling he'd still be there. And given how deep this draft class is, obviously, the more likely that we could get a blue chip prospect, the better that would be. But I feel like there are a lot of hidden gems in this draft
Oh,
class.
absolutely.
And one of the biggest names I can think of right now is Lynn Bowden, the quarterback
Oh,
receiver
yeah.
out of Kentucky. I think he's going to be an early day 3 pick, and we have a couple of 5th rounders. So
Yeah,
we
I've
could
heard
probably
he.
package that, trade up into the 4th if we want to get him, or maybe stay put it in the 5th round, and more likely that he could drop to us. But he's
Yeah,
one of those like gadget type players that we could use both as a receiver and as in case a QB.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to succeed as a QB in the league, but I definitely feel like he's going to be really good. He's going to fit Shanahan's scheme well. I think Lynch whatever that video was of like that he sent out like his home view, like I think that was on the screen of the film. It was a Kentucky game, so Bowden, that's a guy to watch. But also I think him and another guy. Actually, let's go to APOMs. Do you have any other guys that you're thinking of?
No, not really.
Not really. All right. So I got two guys that or maybe actually three. So first of all, Laviska Shenault has the number one potential in my opinion. He's just glass though. That's the huge risk with him, and that's why his draft stock has really taken a hit. Another guy is Denzel Mims out of Baylor. I really like this guy. 6'3", ran a really fast time at the combine. I think he can fit us really well. And another guy, another 5th round guy that we might be looking at, Antonio Gandy Golden out of Liberty. This kid is a beast. His drop rate is very good for like an NFL ready player. I think it was like below 5%. So yeah, and while we're at it, I also want to bring up Bean's comment. Debo is a great player. Personally, thinks he fits best as a wide receiver too, but he's easily capable as a wide receiver one, which I definitely see. By saying he's excelling at the number 2 receiver, I'm not saying he can't be a number 1 receiver. Just want to put that up for my viewers. Anything else you guys got for wide receiver?
I like Jalen Rager out of TCU.
Yeah, I'm not that high up on him, but I think he definitely has the talent. I just feel like for us, like for a team that needs that number 1 wide receiver, I don't think he's ready yet. I think he might want a bit of development. Like a team like Green Bay, who has their number 1 receiver, or Minnesota. I know Minnesota is really high up on him, so he might be gone by 31. But I think, yeah, I feel like he could find a better fit somewhere else. But if he's there, it might be worth taking. So.
I mean,
Yeah, APOMs, you got anything?
I mean, it's a project pick, but I mean, at that point, 31 is practically a 2nd rounder, so we can basically.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I think it'll be worth it if we take him, but we might need to develop him a bit more. But yeah, Apums, you got anything else for receiver?
Just thinking about to what you brought up, Denzel Mims. That's a name I really like a lot because
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of Big 12 football this year, so I've seen a lot of him. So I go to a Big 12 school, so
That's nice. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of receivers that are going to succeed after this draft, from this draft class. So yeah. All right, let's move on. Another need that we all said was cornerback. So let's talk about that right now. So personally, I think I'm just going to start it off now. I'll get you guys there. Let them actually, as I'll just go with this, guys. Let them talk. So yeah, I do keep interrupting you guys, I will say. So I'm sorry if I'm doing that. I'm just a talkative guy. So
Oh no, it's all good. It's all
all
good.
right. If I'm interrupting you guys too much and not letting you talk, let me know. Just interrupt me. Totally fine. But let's move on with quarterback. What do you guys have to say?
I think the best corner in this draft, and it's probably consensus, is Jeff Oduka. I think I probably
Okuda,
butchered
yeah.
his name. Out of I think Ohio State,
Mhm.
and more likely than that he's gonna be gone within the top 10. So there's no way he even drops to us at 13. But after that, there's a slightly bigger drop than most people would think, but it's not that every other person behind Oduka is bad, but I feel like Oduka is just well above and beyond any other corner in this draft class.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's probably like Okuda, then CJ Henderson, who I doubt will take because I think we'll take a receiver, and then just the rest of them. And I think that gap between Henderson and everyone else is a little one. But in my opinion, I think personally we should just draft a cornerback who is like really good all around, and they don't necessarily need. They can develop. They have room to develop because we don't necessarily need a starter quarterback right now because we got Mosley, we got Witherspoon if he can step it up a bit more. We got Sherm. So yeah, that's what I got. Apums, you got anything else?
nope.
Nope. All right. So let me talk about some players I like. First of all, I really like Jalen Rieger. If you haven't watched my last video, where we talked, or one of my last videos where we talked about defensive players, make sure to check that out because both Jake and I were really high up on him. So I think he's going to be a great pick if we can get him. Probably would have to stay at 31 to get him, but I really like him. Another guy, if we trade down, or two guys, Damon Arnett and Cam Dantzler. I really like those two. I think Dantzler's stock dropped because his 40 time at the combine wasn't that good. But other than that, he's really good in coverage. Same with Arnett out of Ohio State. Again, kind of overshadowed by Okuda. But yeah, I like those two guys. And I think hopefully we can get one of those guys. But yeah, again, just an all-around good corner that can fill every need. You guys got any players that you want to highlight?
I mean, again, some of my college bias is coming in, but
Trayvon Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs out of Alabama.
Mhm.
I mean, his stock is dropping. I don't really know why, but it's dropping, and if it drops far enough, we could probably get him day 2, maybe early day 3, and that could possibly be considered a steal because he's a good cover guy, and he was originally considered a late first, early second talent, meaning if we can get him in, say, the 3rd or the 4th or maybe even the 5th, that's a major steal because you're technically getting a first-round talent all the way in basically the dredges of the draft.
Yeah, definitely. Apums, any guys you think might be worth taking?
Not really. I haven't been paying attention to much cornerback.
Hey, what positions have you been paying attention to, just out of curiosity?
Safety and wide receiver mostly.
All right, let's talk about. Go ahead, finish up.
For the 31st pick, I'm really hoping that McKinney from Alabama. I hope he's going to fall to us because he seems like a stud.
Yeah, I definitely like McKinney a lot. And while we're on that topic, let's just move to the safety. I think mainly, in my opinion, I think we should just get a guy for mainly depth who can maybe start. We don't necessarily need a starting safety again, but maybe a guy who can fill the gap between Tart and Harris, or some guy that can fill the gap between Ward and Tavares Moore. Because I definitely think there is a gap between them, and you definitely saw that on the field a little bit last year, especially in the Saints game. Marcel Harris could not cover a tight end for his life. So, yeah, but I want to hear from Apums. Are there any other players that you've been looking at for safety?
What's his name? Antoine Winfield Jr.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's pretty good. What about you, Rohit?
Again, this is one of the bigger names in the draft. I've been really looking at him, Grant Delpit from LSU. I think he's just a good overall safety. His tackling's good, his coverage is good. But unfortunately, I think he's probably like starter caliber, and we don't necessarily need a starter right now. I think I'm confident with what we got right now between Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tart. So I don't think we need someone who can just step in and just start from basically the first day of training camp. Like, I don't think we need that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can totally see that. I also think there's going to be some later gems later. I haven't looked at safety too much because I haven't felt like it's that big of a need for us. But one guy, Tanner Moose I think it's Moose how you pronounce it, or Muse, out of Clemson. I think he was the second safety there. And from what I've read about him, he's pretty damn good. I think he can probably be like a 6th or 7th round pick, which would be pretty good for us in my opinion. So, you guys got anything else on safety?
I'm a bit high on Alohi Gilman out of Notre Dame. I think
he'd be
a steal in the later rounds of the draft, maybe 6th, 7th round, depending on if there's a row of safeties in day 2 or day 3, or if just somehow he just manages to fall into the later rounds of day 3. I think he'd be a pretty good steal.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've been doing some like mock draft simulations, and he's usually been there around 5, so I've been taking him because he's one of the better players. So, yeah, that's what I got on safety. You got anything more, Palms?
Nope.
All right, perfect. What is there a position that you guys want to talk about really quick that I haven't covered? So we've covered wide receiver, offensive line, safety, and cornerback. Is there anything else you guys want to cover?
Honestly, not that I can think of right now. I mean,
all right, I can pick something you guys want because there's a few more that we got, I think. But I just want to hear if you guys have anything that's really on your mind right now. Just let me know. You got anything, A-Palms, or not?
I'm just going back to that 31st pick again. I'm thinking Ross Blacklock, defensive tackle.
Defensive tackle. That was what I was thinking on moving on to. So I think he's going to be. I think he would be a really great pick at 31. My only concern with that is I feel like there's better talent that we can get later. So I feel like if we could trade back, get a better player. Well, not necessarily a better player because Blacklock's probably like the better player going into the draft, has a higher draft stock. I just feel like there's guys that are going to pan out more later on. Or we take Kinlaw at 13, which I'm not too high up on. But yeah, and I feel like for what we need out of defensive tackle, we need some guy who can potentially start. And I also think it would be worth taking 2 defensive tackles because right now our depth is 2 guys who came off of season-ending injuries. So I feel like it would definitely be worth taking some depth. But Kinlaw, Blacklock, I want to hear any other players that you guys have or any other needs for defensive tackle because I got many players in mind that I think I would like to take here.
Again, I actually love the Kinlaw pick at 13 simply because it fills the immediate need, and it almost feels like it's almost like a tit for tat trade when we traded away DeForest Buckner to Indianapolis in exchange for the 13th pick because we traded away a space-eating, strong defensive tackle, and in return we get a strong space-eating defensive tackle that fits right into the 4-3-1-9 that we use. Because if you look back at last year, across the entire league, we employed the lowest percentage of blitzes. And in case if anyone doesn't know what a blitz is, it's any pass rush defined as rushing 5 or more to the quarterback at any time.
Yeah, and we were pretty damn good at that. So
yeah, and that's because of that strong front 7 that we got, and which you basically have to double team at minimum 2 people on every snap. You can't leave anybody one-on-one.
Yeah, definitely. I will say one thing about the 13th pick that I just want to get out of the way. If Derek Brown falls to us at 13, we have to take him. I'm just going to say that right now. I feel like we have to take him.
I mean, I like Brown. I think he's by far the most talented and the best defensive tackle in this draft class, but I don't think he's exactly what we're looking for, mostly because DeForest Buckner was able to get to the quarterback very well. Derek Brown especially when you look at him through the context of the SEC, which has a lot of run-heavy teams in the SEC East and the SEC West. He was a good run stuffer,
which I
and-
think we need for our team, though. That's the other thing. Like, I think we really need a run defender, because our run defense, our pass defense was like top tier, and our run defense was like kind of mid to low tier. I feel like that I kind of want him there. So you can continue on. I just want to point that out.
Yeah. And actually, in a way, that makes sense, especially considering the fact that we also have to deal with the fact that we have both Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson in our division.
Mhm.
And looking at our schedule this year, we have to go play Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Who else? Probably Tua.
Probably
Probably Tua, unless they take.
From what I've heard, the hips healed up nicely, so he should be mobile. He should be able to move around the pocket, and so being able to get to somebody before they were able to move and shuffle around, that'd be important.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I mean, obviously it's a no-brainer if someone as talented as Derek Brown falls to 13, stay put, and just go for it. Unless someone literally gives you a Godfather offer for the 13th pick. If someone of that caliber drops down,
oh yeah,
take
totally.
it. No questions asked.
Mm-hmm. And Bean agrees with you right here. If Derek Brown falls to us, I'm taking him without a blink of an eye. I think
at that point, it's a no-brainer. At that point, it's best player available. If you're not worried about scheme, and if you're not worried about filling a position of need, just go for best player available. You'll be able to find a way to use them, because that's just how the NFL works. You just find a way to use people.
Yeah, I feel like we've not been letting APOMs talk a bit. So I feel like if you want to, I feel like it's just be me and Rohit. So if you want to say anything, just feel free to interrupt us or anything. But you got anything about any other players you want?
Not really. I 100% agree with you guys. I personally wouldn't want to see us take Kinlaw at 13. I'd rather have us take Blacklock maybe at 31st, because I'd rather get Lamb or Ruggs or Judy or whatever they want to do.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to point out two other guys I'm really high up on at defensive tackle. Actually three. So so first one is Raekwon Davis out of Alabama, another Bama guy for Rohith. I think he's really the Bama defense is stacked. Let's just put that out there right now. Bama and LSU, those defenses are stacked, and I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of these guys are falling. They're overshadowed by everyone else who's a top tier player. But I think Raekwon Davis, in my opinion, was probably the best one of the best defensive tackles in the SEC. And I think he's going to do really well in the NFL. That's all I got for him. Next guy, a guy I've been really high up on this entire draft, Jordan Elliott out of Missouri, another SEC defensive tackle. All these guys, the three guys I'm about to say are SEC defensive tackles. So that just shows you how stacked that it is. But Jordan Elliott, he definitely needs to develop a little bit, which I think is okay for us, since he doesn't necessarily need to start. It would be best if he did start, but it's all right. I think he developed into a really good player. The other guy is, I forget his name, but I think it's McTelvin Agam out of Arkansas. This guy is probably going to be a 7th-round pick, maybe 6th-round pick, but I really like him. I think I saw some article where he was the thumbnail of the article for the Niners. Some Niners articles. So I think he would be a really great fit on this team, help with the depth out a lot. And I just want to get your thoughts on this. I personally think we should take 2 defensive tackles. Do you guys agree with me?
Yeah, I agree, especially considering the fact that we've had multiple injuries at the position, and the current defensive tackles that we have on our roster, with the exception of Armstead, we've really only been using in limited roles, and they've been excelling in those limited roles. For example, DJ Jones, who I think is probably the best athlete on the team. I remember this one play specifically. It was the Monday night game against Seattle.
When he pancaked the center.
he literally just.
I was so hyped.
I'm like, I literally looked away for a second because I would think I was getting water or something. Next thing you know, I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, wait, Wilson's down. What happened?
That was hands down my favorite play, one of my favorite plays of the year, and I think he tagged IHOP in his picture of that after, which was kind of cold. So, but yeah. So, you want to add anything, APOMs, or? That defensive tackle? Nope. All right. So we've covered wide receiver, cornerback, defensive tackle, O-line, and safety. One other, I just want to quickly touch on this really quickly. Tight end. I think we should just get some guy who's a pure blocking tight end, probably in the late rounds, because I feel like we need someone to fill up Toilolo's spot a little bit. We might be able to sign an undrafted guy as well, which I think would help as well. But it might be just a safe pick to just take a tight end late in the rounds. One guy I've talked a lot about is Charlie Werner out of Georgia. Pure blocker. He doesn't do that much pass catching, but he's really good at blocking, which I think is something we need since we obviously don't need a starting tight end. So yeah, but that's all I got. If you guys have any other tight ends, or not, have you not been paying attention to that?
I haven't really been paying attention much to tight ends, mostly because
We don't need
aside
one.
from the fact that we have George Kittle, but
Yeah.
I have a lot of faith in Ross Dwelling. And if you look at what he did over the past season, whenever we needed him to step in for Kittle, he did well. He can block, he can catch.
Mhm.
He fits what Shanahan wants in a tight end, and I think he's a good foil for Kittle. And more importantly, I personally don't really see any tight ends who just pop out at me during this draft. And I think we'd be better off trying to find somebody in either free agency or the trade market. And again, a couple hours ago, probably like this morning, I saw an article saying that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might be looking to shop
OJ Howard. I don't think we're going to do that though. We're definitely not going to do that but I think we just add one more tight end besides Dwelly as well. So that's 3 tight ends. Last year we had 4. I know Selleck was out for most of the year, but still. And then 2 tight ends that Bean points out are Devin Asiasi. I don't know how you pronounce that. And then Hunter Bryant out of Washington right there. I personally think, I just want to get your thoughts on that. So I think once we fill the need at wide receiver, defensive tackle, and cornerback, I think we should just draft best player available while trying to fill our needs as well. Do you guys agree with that?
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So I feel like if they are the best player available, once we've got those needs off the board, I think it will definitely be worth taking them, unless there's another guy that we really need that maybe fits our needs a bit more. But yeah, Apums, you got anything for tight end?
Not really. I haven't been paying much attention to names. I've just been.
No, that's all good. I know a lot of people haven't been doing
a tight end.
Yeah, I know a lot of people haven't been paying attention at all because we don't. When you look at our roster, like you just see George Kittle, and you're like, oh, they don't need a tight end at all. But it might be good to add depth. And have you guys done any linebacker research? I just want to.
I haven't necessarily been looking at linebackers, but I've been looking at a couple of edge rushers, mostly Joshua Uche out of Michigan and Curtis Weaver out of Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'd be good depth players and behind Nick Bosa and Dee Ford. And I think
definitely.
They can step in nicely if needed.
Yeah, and then
but I don't. But again, because John Lynch smashed out of the park with the Nick Bosa pick, I don't think we need to expand high draft capital on looking for another edge rusher.
Yeah, I don't think we necessarily need an edge rusher. I think we just need. It doesn't even have to be a linebacker. I think we just need to add another defensive guy who is good on the run, like good at run defense, because I feel like we struggled with that last year. There's a few guys. There's not too many guys that stand out to me, but I think it's just something that we could just fill. Maybe like if we trade back, maybe you can get or maybe actually just one of our 5th round picks would do the trick. Probably. I think there's some guys there that have been taken. I think. There's no one that really stands out to me. Is there anyone that stands out to you, Apums, or nah? No. All right, perfect. So, yeah, I just think we just need another run defender. It doesn't really have to be a linebacker. So, So, position we've covered so far, we covered wide receiver, cornerback, defensive tackle, O-line, tight end, safety, and linebacker. Do you guys have any other positions you guys want to cover?
Not particularly. I think I like where the roster's at all the positions.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, we can always look to improve at all positions at all times because, well, that's just the nature of the NFL. And, yeah, that's basically it. But I've been looking at a couple of running backs, mostly because the NFL, especially our team, is just a running back carousel.
Yeah.
When Shanahan Lynch came in 2017, our top running back was Carlos Hyde. And then we brought in Tim Hightower in free agency, and then we cut him right after preseason ended. And we rode with him, and then slowly the reins started moving towards Matt Breida towards the end of the season. In 2018, we brought in Jerick McKinnon. and Breida was again supposed to be relegated to the foil for McKinnon. And then we all know what happened there. Tears his ACL. Breida steps in, does
Number one
well.
guy.
And then 2019, we bring in Coleman, and Coleman was supposed to basically become that third head in the three-headed rushing attack that was supposed to be Jerick McKinnon, Matt Breida, and Tevin Coleman. And once again, unfortunately, McKinnon's ACL injury didn't heal as the Niners expected it would, so he needed to take another year off. And then now we see Raheem Mostert.
Mostert just comes in out of nowhere. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
And again, we're also in a kind of a bit of a salary cap bind, especially considering the fact that we're trying to extend George Kittle within the upcoming weeks, maybe hopefully before the season starts. So we may be looking to free up money wherever we can. So I think McKinnon already restructured his contract, I believe.
We restructured McKinnon's contract, I bet, and I think from what I've heard, Breida's on the trade block too.
Okay, yeah. So with Breida on the trade block, and I think we might cut Coleman or maybe shop him. I don't know.
I feel like if the fact that we're shopping Breida shows that we want Coleman. I definitely feel like he fits in. Him and Mostert definitely fit in with Shanahan's scheme the best, in my opinion. Yeah. So that's why I kind of want them. But I just don't think we should draft a running back in the draft unless there's like some guy that has fallen a lot, or we filled all our needs and we're just going best player available. But yeah, I also just want to, before I let APOMs talk about, or actually I'll just let him talk right now because I feel like I haven't been doing that a lot. Do you, are there any other positions that you think we need to fill?
Not really. Just like what you said earlier, just once we get those, wide receiver, defensive tackle, cornerback all filled up, just whatever's best available. I mean, it's possible a running back could come up that we might want to take.
Mm-hmm. If someone like DeAndre Swift fell to like round 3, I think that would be worth taking. But that's just like
at that point, that's a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer, yeah. But that's the only really scenario I can think of. I haven't really done any research on running backs at all. So, but before we end the video, I just want to bring up one comment. What if Wirfs falls to us? Do you think we'll take him at 13?
Wait, what position does Wirfs play again?
He's a tackle who can also play guard, and he's the best. He's arguably the best O-lineman in the draft out of Iowa.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, it depends on who is available at 13. Obviously, our biggest needs are wide receiver and defensive back, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Probably interior defensive line is up there as well. So, in my opinion, that if none of the big names and nobody important is on the board, and if Wirfs does drop to 13, then just go for it.
Yeah,
but I don't think Tristan. I want to say his first name's Tristan. I think.
Tristan Wirfs.
I don't think Tristan Wirfs is the guy at 13, simply because I think there are more glaring positions of need that we need to fill.
Yeah. What do you got, APOMs?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the only reason I'd see us taking him is if somehow Kinlaw and all 3 wide receivers that we're looking at somehow get drafted before 13.
Yeah, I think if he fell to 13, that honestly could be the case, considering that it would mean that the Jets didn't take a wide receiver. I don't think it mean probably someone traded up. I don't even know. Like I don't think he falls to 13. But personally, I think it might be a good pick considering he can play guard. And he can also fill in Staley's role once he retires, because we all know that's coming up soon, as we talked about at the beginning of the video. Another Iowa guy, get that link with George Kittle. Big guys out of Iowa always get that link with Kittle, I feel like. But yeah, I don't necessarily know if we need to take him. It's also, we got to convert him to guard, which is also a bit of a risk considering he mainly played tackle in college. So yeah, that's what I got there. Before we end the video, do you guys have any final thoughts on anything?
This may come as a surprise to probably a lot of the 49ers fans, but like, I feel like we should probably stay put at 31 and trade back a bit from 13, maybe to into the mid-20s, mostly because that 13th pick holds a lot of value, and this is a very deep draft in multiple positions. So I think we can get a lot of value out of that 13th overall pick. Obviously, much more than we could out of 31. So I think it would benefit us more if we got maybe trade with Philadelphia, because Philadelphia has a glaring need a wide receiver, and if we can do them the same way we did Chicago in 2017, who's to say no? I mean, that just gives us more picks, meaning we have more resources to play around with, and that just gives us more ammunition in a deep draft in multiple positions.
Yeah, I also think one team to look at for trading up, Atlanta, is looking to trade up. I think they probably will trade up. They're looking at 10 to 11, like the 10 to 11th position right now. But I think if Jaguars take CJ Henderson, because right now I haven't taken Kinlaw, but I think Henderson is another option there. If they do that, or Derek Brown even, if they do that, then I think they might want to get ahead of Tampa to take Kinlaw. So we might be a prime position. Will we get the receivers we want? Probably not. We would have to hope that the Jets don't take a receiver, because then we got to just rely on the Broncos for not taking a receiver, which I think they will. But anyways, APOMs, you got any final thoughts?
Well, I'm just saying, like, no matter what happens in this draft, I can't think of a scenario where, like, I won't be happy, because, like, Kyle and John, I mean, they've took this team from nothing to Super Bowl contenders. So, I mean, I trust them 100% with anything they do. And even if it's not what I'm thinking I want them to do, I mean, I'm not going to be getting mad at them.
All right, perfect. You guys just stay. I'm going to end the video right now. You guys just stay in here. I want to talk to you guys after about how it went. But for all my viewers, thank you guys all so much for watching. Once again, follow APOMs right here at APOMs with 3 underscores. And follow Rohith right here at Rohith Kanan71. So make sure to do that. Make sure to follow me as well at Stone Cold Kittle. We all post a lot about the Niners. So if you want that more content, make sure to do that. And thank you guys all so much for watching. And I will see you next time. Go Niners.
Go Niners.
Niners.